Hey everyone, my name is Ramneet, and we are back with Chapter 5 of Your Mind is Your Home by Cameron Beatty. The name of Chapter 5 is called The Rooms Inside the Home of Your Mind, and the blurb underneath that chapter, which Cameron states, is that the people you surround yourself with will always influence the behavior that you have, as will the thoughts that you choose to keep company with inside the home of your mind. So he has a couple sub chapters in this chapter. The first sub chapter would be called A Moment in My Mind. And in this, he kind of talks about how from day to day, no matter where we're at, sometimes even waking up from our sleep, our body goes into all the thoughts wrong that are maybe happening wrong in our life. So maybe some financial concerns, any home troubles. And sometimes, even when we're at work, our mind kind of drifts off to those issues that we're dealing with and we start to spiral. So he says that on page 43, these thoughts and situations which feed the feelings are happening at the same time that they wash and dress and will continue on the commutes these individuals take as they leave their physical homes, yet travel with their thoughts in the home of their mind. Their mental homes may already resemble roads of traffic from the continuous flow of thoughts of yesterday, last week, and potentially for later that day, all montaged into the space inside where tabs are open, dialogue is being heard as emotions mix around the body. So he asks us to take a moment and kind of ask ourselves, how is the start of your day? Where does your mind go with your thoughts? And are you open with various tabs or thoughts that belong in the trash? So tabs is something we kind of covered last week, where Cameron was talking about in his last chapter how different thoughts can be considered different tabs that are open on your browser. And when you are in a space, for example, you're in a work meeting or office, and some of those tabs happen to open up for you, you can shut them off, kind of like you would do on a computer with an X. So I really liked this first bit of his chapter. I feel like, he really helps us to understand how we're not always present when we're trying to be, and how to kind of get back, be mindful, and bring ourselves back to where we are actually presently, physically sitting. There's a little blurb on page 145, which I really liked. It said, a message pings on my phone that the delivery I had ordered won't reach me in time, and this now dominates my mind and draws me away from the focus of the podcast. So I close the mental tabs and mute the inner talk as I swipe away the content of my mind so that I can purely focus on the task ahead. So, like I was saying earlier, he just, something alarming happens, and I'm noticing more and more. This is especially when we're in a pandemic and we're in that work from home lifestyle. A lot of bad news that we're getting is through our phones or through our emails or through our laptops. And sometimes, even though we're sitting in our home in a very calm space, seeing something that's negative news can really cause us to drift away from our present reality. So I like that he mentions that he had to close that mental tab and mute the inner talk. And that's something we would do on, let's say, Netflix, for example, when we're watching a movie. So really great metaphor there. Then he talks in his next chapter about what lies within, and the room of anxiety. And he says that this is the panic room of the home of your mind, where you have pushed the alert button and switched on all of the internal cameras, screens, sensors, and sounds. And this is where you stay stuck in a position, watching, listening, feeling, and continually feeding the anxiety from the content that you create and view within. So he asks, who is coming to rescue you from the panic room? Who is going to stop you from viewing the potential threats to your life that plays out over and over in your mind? And he's saying that escaping and being present is fundamental for you to find relief. Escaping the inner sounds and muting them, the screens that are open and playing, and finding relief from the emotions that you feel is vital for your own mental and emotional freedom. So maybe kind of having some sort of coping strategy or like a safety plan when you find yourself entering this room of anxiety. Is there somebody you can call? Is there, go back and make a list of all the things you can do when you enter this room. And for me, it can be calling my friend. It can be doing some breathing exercises. That always works for me. So great tips that are given by Cameron here in his chapter 5. And I will be back next week to talk a little bit about chapter 6.